Greetings, book nerds. It's me again. Welcome back to the Book Nerds Corner. Now that my 2026 bookish bracket is finally complete, I can move on to reading whatever I want. I did end up signing up for a couple different reading challenges this month too, but they're a lot less like forceful of what I have to read. They're a lot more open-ended and I can kind of read whatever I want to for the most part, with a few little like gimmicky games thrown in. So I think for this month I'm also going to be focusing on like themed challenges. For this video we're going to start off with reading monster romances because I've been really enjoying them as of late. I was recently gifted a short story called Petals, Pyres, and Promises by Storm Lomax, and I absolutely ate that story up. It was only 19 pages long, but it was so good. Like, the beginning was really intense, and then it like evolved into this like slow burn angsty romance with like feminine rage vibes thrown in, and then the ending was just so sweet and so cute. It just had me bawling my eyes out. So after that, I've really felt inspired to read some more monster romances. I've also been reading some of Laura Greenwood's and Ariana Jade's. They're like a couple of sapphic cozy fantasy writers, and they write a ton of monster romances. I just read one that was between like a demon and an angel, and then two different types of demons, and then another one with a dragon shapeshifter. So I've been really eating up monster romances as of late, so I figured I'd just like keep that train going because there's a few books that I really need to get done anyway for different PR companies and straight teams that I'm on, so I figured this would be a fun way to motivate myself to read some. The first book I will be starting with is A Practical Guide to Dating a Demon by Hannah Reynolds. This one was gifted to me by Penguin Random House in collaboration with Colored Pages Book Tours, which is a PR company that I've worked with for probably over a year now, and they always seem to have really fun books on there, and they usually focus on like diverse characters, which I think is always good things to have included in books. But anyway, I don't know much about this one. Obviously, it's a demon romance. I absolutely adored this little fire salamander that he has. I actually don't even know the main character's names in this one. It looks like it's Naomi and Daziel. And I've heard this one is like more of a cozy romance, which is kind of, I mean, I only really like cozy monster romances, not like scary, dark, fantasy, demonic romances. So hopefully this will be a fun one. I need to get this one read in the next couple weeks anyway, so starting off with this one in this video makes sense. I'll definitely give you an update on when I'm done, and then we can see what I'll be reading next in this video. Alrighty friends, I finished A Practical Guide to Dating a Demon, so let's talk about it. This one was really cute. It is a YA cozy romantasy between a very studious scholarly student and a rather charming demon. So we got Naomi and Daziel. And the premise of this one is really funny actually. So Naomi is too busy with her studies to like deal with the boys that are like chasing after her, so she just tells everyone, oh, I'm already engaged to a demon, so you can't, do anything with me. One day she gets a little too detailed in her lie and ends up summoning Daziel to her apartment, which starts a really funny meet cute and a really quirky relationship. The two find themselves forced to live together for the entire school year because they've made like an accidental betrothal, which is pretty funny. And I was definitely here for their relationship. Honestly, the world building was definitely lacking in this one, as was like the magic system. The conflict doesn't start till about halfway through the book, so right away I was kind of just there for the vibes and following these two as they got to know one another. Their relationship is really cute though. It is such a slow burn romance. Like, these two are just living together, doing dishes and studying for school and all that stuff. And then eventually one day, like, Naomi just realizes she kind of likes him. And I think that's like the sweetest romance, when you're just like besties and then you realize that you might have feelings for one another. The ending of this one definitely had a lot of like loose ends that still need to be tied up, so I could definitely see this one getting a sequel if like enough people read it and enjoy it. So I would definitely be willing to check it out because I enjoyed these two's relationship as a whole. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 because once again, I think the world building and magic system could have been like done a little better. It was kind of ambiguous for like the first like 2/3 of the book even, and I thought that was a little weird for like a book that took place in a magical academy. But beyond that, I thought it was really fun. It was a little slower paced. It was just kind of cozy slice of life. But if that's a book you would enjoy, I would definitely recommend checking out A Practical Guide to Dating a Demon by Hannah Reynolds. So yeah, now that this one is complete, we can move on to our next book. This is one that I'm really excited to read. It is Must Love Libraries and Libations by Maisie Magel. I'm actually part of her street team, so I've been reading a lot of her books as they've been coming out, and I must say I haven't been the hugest fans of the first couple books. This is there's a prequel and then the first one, but like they're really cute. The world is so cozy. I just think the relationships have been a little rushed, but I mean that's pretty common in the novella, which the prequel was, and the second one was just kind of very like fated mates insta love, so not exactly the book's fault, just not something I was a super fan of either. This one I'm really excited for. It follows a grumpy gargoyle who runs the library and a sunshine party planner. Honestly, I don't remember her name or her species. I think she's like a fae of some kind, but a sunshine half-elf, there you go. So Primrose is a half-elf, and the gargoyle kind of has a weird name. And Erasmus. Primrose and Erasmus, it's definitely a grumpy sunshine romance, and it takes place in a library, and as they're celebrating its like 100th, and the library's been around for a long time. They're celebrating its birthday. But yeah, this one sounds really cute, really cozy. I was lucky enough to win the physical edition from one of her street team giveaways, which is really cool. So it's like signed by the author and personalized to me, which is really fun. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. The cover is so cute. I've actually started it. I'm on page 15, so I've just got a brief introduction to the characters, and I think it is going to be really, really, really cute. Primrose really is a ray of sunshine, and she just is there to support all of her friends. And Erasmus seems like the grumpiest grump, but I get it. He's like an ancient gargoyle who just wants to read his books. But yeah, definitely excited for this one, and I'm very curious to see how it will compare to the other books that I've read in this series. Alrighty, I just finished Must Love Library and Libations, and I'm happy to announce that this has been my favorite book in the series thus far. I gave this one a 4 out of 5, which is very much increased from the 3 out of 5 I gave the previous 2 installments. This one was actually really, really, really cute. It's between a half-elf sunshine party planner who's just like a ray of happy energy, and she sparkles all the time, and she's just such a joy to read about. And then Erasmus, who is a gargoyle librarian who definitely is the epitome of grumpy. He is very, very grumpy. He's over 4 centuries old, and he is not willing to change his mind in any way, shape, or form. So when Primrose, the party planner, wants to throw a huge celebration to honor the library that he's been working at for the last 111 years, he's not having it. This forces Primrose to kind of just like come back to the library constantly and be like, well, the council of the town has already commissioned this, so it's happening whether you want it to or not. And that's just kind of how it is, which I think is really fun. She's definitely one you don't want to mess with, and she doesn't stand down easily. So I found the 2 main characters very enjoyable in this one, and the romance between them was pretty fun. I must say it was still a bit insta-lovey. They were lusting after each other almost immediately and having like daydreams about their future, which I thought was a little weird. But I tried to put it aside because like I knew that was gonna happen, or I had a great suspicion that was gonna happen. So like it didn't feel as odd as in the first two. My favorite part about this book, though, is definitely the setting. It takes place in like a sentient library who helps its patrons by like, you know, pushing them in the direction of a book that they really need to read, or helping them find things they're looking for, or it magically cleans itself every night. So I just thought like the vibe of like a magical library that's there to help people is like really sweet. And I just thought that was like the most cozy setting ever. And inside the library, there are these magical bookworms, as in like WYRMS, like the dragons without feet worms. And they are literally miniature dragons who like protect the books, and they're so cute. They make their nests in the bookshelves, and they're just so cute. This isn't the first book I've ever read with bookworms in it, and they're definitely fast becoming one of my like niche favorite mythical creatures because they're just like so cute and so cozy. But yeah, definitely a really big fan of this one. Not my most favorite book ever, but this one had me really, really excited for book 3 because book 3 features two of the characters in this book. One is an orc named Granick who runs a farm, and the other is Juniper, who's also a half elf, I believe, and she runs the town's apothecary, and they are best friends. So that one's gonna be a best, like, childhood best friends to lovers romance, which means no insta love, and that has me really, really, really excited. But yeah, Maisie Magel writes really, really cozy fantasy books, and they definitely have a little insta love in them, and they're definitely a little spicy. So if that's something that interests you, definitely check them out because they are really cozy and quick reads. Like these ones really only take a couple hours to read. They're not very long, and the font is honestly kind of huge. So like it's definitely a quick read. I actually do have to go pick up the next book I want to read for this vlog, so I will be back whenever I get my hands on it. Alright, book nerds, it's been a little bit since the last time I spoke to you, but it took me longer than I thought it would to pick up my book mail from my parents' house, but I'm back and I'm ready to read book 3 for this video. This one I'm super excited about. I got a beautiful PR package, which if you want to see more of that, you can check out my shorts. This one is My Shy Alpha by River Kai, and it is a werewolf romance, which I feel like it's hard to make a monster romance video without hitting werewolves and vampires, so here's this one for us. This one I'm super excited about. It's the first book in the his Steamy Shifter series, and that series is actually getting its own spin-off too, so if I love this book, I have a lot in this world to explore. Their Instagram seems really cool, so I have been really excited to read this one, and I'm excited that I finally have my hands on my own physical copy. Another cool thing about this book is that it is illustrated by the author, so we have 10 gorgeous illustrations strewn throughout this one, and I'm excited to see like how they tie into the story, and because the cover is oh so beautiful, which is also done by River Kai because they are an artist and they're really good at what they do. So I'm excited to see if their writing is just as beautiful as their cover. And this one is much more on the steamy side, so I'm also just interested to see how that goes for me because that's really hit or miss if I love steamy books or not. But this one I've heard is very consensual. Noah, the male main character, is the king of consensual and making sure his girl's all right, which just sounds so sweet. And especially because Eliana, the female main character, has struggled a lot with domestic abuse and being taken advantage of and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to see, like, read this book because it's supposed to have some really good emotional depth too, with something I love in my books, especially romances. Alrighty, I finished My Shy Alpha, and I'm here to tell you guys a little bit about it. Everything that I heard about this book before going into it was definitely true. There was a lot of emotional messages involving PTSD, OCD, past partner abuse, and a lot of just trauma in general that both Aaliyah and Noah go through or have went through and are now processing together. I think it's really sweet how they help each other through all of their struggles and with their past demons and all that stuff. The spice was also definitely spiced in this one. There were literally chapters at a time that were explicit scenes, so definitely if that's not your cup of tea, I'd stay away from this one. Me, I don't like my books super spicy, so this one definitely got on my nerve a little bit at times, but for the most part the scenes were very sweet, very consensual. They were obviously all between Noah and Aaliyah, and I thought they were done mostly with finesse. I felt like towards the end they got a little repetitive because there's a lot of themes in this book involving like being intimate with someone and learning to trust someone again, and like heartedly putting yourself on the line and trusting in another being. So I feel like in a lot of the earlier explicit scenes there's a lot of like moments in which Noah is like, hey, what do you like? What can I do for you? How can I help out? How can I make this feel better? How can I make you feel more comfortable? And then towards the end, it's more of just like steam for the sake of steam, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but just for reading this one in like 3 days, there's a lot of times where I had to be like, okay, I need to put this down for a little bit because I can't read that much explicit scenes in a row. Overall, though, I would still say that they were more helpful than not, but they did tend to get on my nerves a little bit. Another really cool thing about this one is, as I alluded to earlier, the artist of this book is also the author. So he drew the cover and all of the art on the inside was done by him. And I thought some of the images were really cool. A lot of them definitely like encompass some of like the spicy romantic scenes, which was kind of fun. None of them are NSFW really, which is nice. Everything's covered in all the images. Because I was a little scared there. I'd be jump scared by something, but no, they're all very sweet, very cute. I think the thing that I most love about this one is how it flips its head kind of on the whole wolf shifter alpha trope thing. Usually alphas are very possessive, they're very stubborn, a little rude, and very controlling, especially of their mate. Like once they meet their mate, they're like, you are mine, I can do anything I want to you, and I hope you like it because you're along for the ride. That is not Noah. Noah is definitely a cinnamon roll boy. He's very sweet, he's very caring, he's very awkward, he has a stutter. There's lots of times where he literally is so nervous around Aaliyah, and it is so sweet. Like, I love that for him, and I love that for her. Another thing that's really cool about the flipping of the wolf shifter tropes alpha thing is the fact that Noah is very inclusive of the LGBTQI plus community, as well as breaking gender stereotypes / norms. He believes that alphas and omegas and betas should all be treated equally, and I think that's really cool because a lot of werewolf stories really thrive on the dominant scale, and like the dominant alphas are really in charge of everything, but Noah believes that the omegas are just as important, as well as Noah believing that like a woman can definitely be in charge of a wolf pack and all of that stuff, which I thought was really nice. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I feel there's a chance that like if I kept reading this series, I might get a little more bothered with them if they're still that steamy and the plot doesn't really pick up. This one was really about them exploring their relationship together and introducing us to this wolf shifter community and how it runs. But if like the plot itself doesn't pick up in the next books, but I feel like it will because there's like sprinklings of like a rogue alpha on the loose and all these people trying to take over Noah's pack. So I think it will pick up, but if it didn't and it was just so much steam and not as much depth, I could see my ratings dropping. But I hope they would stay up high as they are, or maybe I would come to love them even more and they could rise. Who really knows? If you're a fan of spicy monster romances, I would say definitely give this one a try. There's some great emotional depth. The art is stunning, and the flip on the typical alpha male is really, really refreshing. I am not a fan of possessive, rude male main characters, so getting to read a typical wolf shifter story with a cinnamon roll boy was honestly a dream come true. I think that's all I have to say about this one, so I guess I'll do a little wrap up here before I go. All the books I read in this video ended up being 4 stars, which is honestly pretty solid and what I honestly shoot for. The first book I read was A Practical Guide to Dating a Demon, which this one was young adult and spice free, so if that's your thing, I definitely recommend this one. Daziel is really spunky and has a lot of character, and this one is definitely more of a cozy fantasy set in like a elaborate world with its own magic system, so if that sounds interesting to you, I definitely recommend this one. The second one I read was Must Love Libraries and Libations by Maisie Magel, and this one was also a really fun ride. I was definitely a little hesitant going to this one, but I loved it way more than I thought I would. If you are a fan of super cozy with a hint of insta-love, like, it's not too bad in this one, but it definitely is still there, and magical libraries sound like something that you would completely eat up, I definitely recommend this one. And then finally, of course, My Shy Alpha, which if you were into steamy monster romances, this would be one I'd recommend. But yeah, honestly, if I had to pick which one I liked the most, it'd be really hard because these ones are all pretty similar in standing for me. I feel like I almost have to go with Must Love because this is a series that I've grown comfortable with, and it's an author that I've grown comfortable with and love supporting, as well as the whole magical library element being so cute. I flew through this book. It was definitely the fastest read of the 3, and honestly, it's just the cozy vibes I'm so here for, and this one had like super cozy small town, like reluctant allies to lovers kind of vibes. And it was just really sweet and really cute, and not gonna lie, the gargoyle is a new monster to me, and I'm very excited to read more of it in the near future, so yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I love monster romances, so if this is something that you're into, definitely check out my Goodreads because I have so many recommendations on there. Or reach out to me either in the comment section or through my Instagram page. I love talking to fellow readers and would love to chat about monster romances with you guys. There's so many I love, and I'm definitely a cozy kind of girl with minimal spice, so if you are too, I definitely have a lot of recs that you may enjoy. So yeah, thanks for watching everybody, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!